Human beings have long dreamed of building machines in our own image. Mechanical beings that could see, hear, speak, and even behave as we do. Today, science and technology are making those dreams come true. We call these creations robots, from the Czechoslovakian word for forced work. One such robot is Wasubot, a mechanical man that reads music, speaks when spoken to, and even plays the organ.
それでは、イエスタデーを演奏します。
No longer the stuff of fantasy, robots are beginning to assume many duties once reserved for human beings. Whether they look like us or not, they can mimic human actions with remarkable precision. These robots share our factories, our laboratories, and our schools. Soon they may even share our homes. Today's robots are the frontline soldiers in the robotic revolution. The earliest robot-like machines were remote-controlled arms known as teleoperators. They were developed shortly after World War II to allow people to handle radioactive materials safely. Using glove-like controls, the human operator moves his hands. The mechanical arms, behind a protective shield, respond. These remote-controlled arms were useful for many tasks, but teleoperators could only follow precisely the motions of the people who ran them. Wouldn't it be wonderful, scientists asked, if we could build machines that would liberate us from many dangerous or taxing jobs? Machines that could perform without a person at the controls. Responding to vocal cues, one early mechanical man appears to be more independent than he actually is.
There is positively no human agency employed whatsoever in controlling it, such as a man pressing buttons or speaking through a microphone, controlling switches. Raise your right arm. Are you married?
Not yet.
See. Well, would you like to be married?
Yes.
Would. Well, now, turn your head to the left. Look at that young lady down there. Would you like to marry that young lady?
She'll do.
Nowhere is the robotic revolution more evident today than in Japan. This island nation leads the world in the production and use of industrial robots. At this international exposition in Japan, the Japanese show off the latest in their robot technology. Visitors find themselves charmed and fascinated by these mechanical marvels. A whole entertainment industry has grown up around show robots, robots designed to dazzle and delight. Fanuc Man was also built for show, but it incorporates the features that make a robot. Controlled by a bank of computers that serves as the robot's brain, Fanuc Man is reprogrammable. That is, it can be taught, directed, to perform many different jobs. It is multifunctional. Its arms and gripper-like hands can adapt to a variety of tasks. Robots are all manipulators. Building a miniature replica of itself, Fanuc Man embodies the definition of a robot, a computer with muscles. Robot hands and arms are widely used in industry and by scientists. Many of them are built to mimic the actions of the human hand. It might seem simple to reach out and pick up an object, but if the robot clutches the object too tightly, it may be crushed. If the grasp is too loose, the object will fall. Scientists have developed sensors to tell the robot just how much pressure to apply. At the foot of Mount Fuji, the company that built Fanuc Man is quietly playing its part in the robotic revolution. Here, assembly lines hum around the clock. But at night, you'll find few humans on the job. Instead, robots work through the night, building copies of themselves. The makers of industrial robots are striving for repeatability. These robots must be able to return again and again to the same point and to repeat a task many times, always with the same precision. In order to obtain such precision, a robot arm must be carefully designed and engineered, but it must also be controlled by a sophisticated computer. When commands are typed into the computer, it translates those orders into electronic messages that tell this robot how to move. The ideal robot would have enough computer brain power to think for itself, to be virtually independent of human programmers. It would take information from the world around it, analyze this data, and respond. Scientists are exploring ways to make robots think for themselves. Their field is known as artificial intelligence, and its study occupies some of the top research laboratories in the world. But progress is understandably slow, and business and industry are not waiting for fully intelligent robots. Robots are already at work in research labs, in factories, even in hospitals.
5 minutes? Okay. All right, ready for elevate?
Elevate. Move.
At Canada's Vancouver General Hospital, engineers have developed a robot to assist in knee surgery. The robot grips, holds, and bends the patient's leg while the surgeon operates. For each operation, the robot is programmed with the patient's own measurements. The machine, known as Arth Robot, functions as a member of the surgical team at the Health Science Center in Vancouver. Without the robot, the doctor or his assistant would have to hold the patient's leg steady for 20 minutes or more, bending it into the exact positions required for surgery. Arth Robot is programmed to understand and respond to the surgeon's spoken commands and to talk back in a voice of its own.
Off robot. Half planks.
Half left.
Move.
Move.
Half revolve.
Yes.
Full extension.
Full extension.
Move. Half revolve.
Yes.
Elevate.
Elevate.
Move.
Move.
For fine movements, Arth Robot also responds to a push-button control.
In. Out. 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 In. Arm. In.
The robot is adaptable. It can be clamped to either side of the operating table so the surgeon can work on either knee. Medicine is finding many uses for robots. In microsurgery, in diagnostics.
Half revolve.
Researchers are exploring the use of robotic arms to replace amputated limbs. And paraplegics someday may be able to walk by wearing robotic devices.
Shut down. Arm. Out. 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 Shut down.
Robots are ideal for jobs that require stamina and precision. The aerospace industry was looking for such precision when it asked an Oregon robotics company, Intellidex, to build a robot system to test electronic circuit boards. It can take a human up to 4 days to test these thousands of connections. The robot can do the job in less than 8 hours. The semiconductor industry uses robot arms partly because they're clean. Each of these silicon wafers can be worth as much as $10,000. A single smudge or speck of dust can drastically reduce its value. This robot loads wafers into cassettes. Other robots will later dip the wafers in corrosive chemicals or bake them at extremely high temperatures. But before they tackle the most challenging tasks, robots must be able to move around. Robot carts, like the ones used in Japan's Seiyu department store, can be found in many businesses. Following an electronic pathway embedded in the floor, this robot travels the aisles at night, when most of the people have gone home. Stores like these might be considered big robotic systems. Computers keep track of the inventory, noting each item as it is sold. When stocks on the sales floor run low, the computer relays that information to stock rooms, where cartons of merchandise are loaded according to where they belong in the store. The robotic cart picks up the cartons and, guided by its electronic instructions, delivers them to the proper aisle for shelving. More sophisticated rolling robots are being tested as night watchmen, even as prison guards. But rolling robots only work on smooth, level ground. The world is full of steps and bumps, hills and holes. Creating a robot that can negotiate surfaces like these is not easy. Like a person, a mobile robot needs to be able to sense what is in its path and react accordingly. Our human brains take in the picture, sift out the important information, and command our bodies to react, all in an instant and without much conscious effort on our part. Even with its powerful computer brain, a robot takes much longer to complete these actions. It must analyze each step as it goes. One type of mobile robot uses tiny sensors attached to its feet. When the antennae bump against something, they send a message to the robot's computer brain. The signal tells the robot to lift its foot. But what if the step were too high or bumpy and uneven? The more complicated the terrain, the more information the robot needs. The way to solve this problem is to equip the robot with a sense of sight. But camera-based vision systems can't yet match the ability of the human optic system. People are able to see varying intensities of light and dark and subtle shades of color. The robot must reduce the picture it sees to a simpler form. The robot breaks the image into mathematical coordinates. This robot's camera scans the subject. Its computer brain translates the image into a series of points. Point by point, an outline emerges. When the picture is complete, it is relayed back to the robot, which electronically reassembles the points into a pattern it can follow with a paintbrush. Our world is full of information, sights and sounds, and a multitude of other sensations. Most people have no trouble absorbing all this data and making sense of it. Drawing on all our experience and knowledge, our brains do the job almost automatically. But even the most sophisticated robot would be overwhelmed by so much information. Because of this, scientists have designed robots to take in only as much information as they need to perform their jobs. The painting robot is designed to entertain, but its vision system is similar to that in robots that work in factories around the world. At a Seiko watch factory, robots need to see what they are handling as they work alongside humans producing wristwatches. A camera lens attached to each robot serves as its eye. The watch parts are illuminated from below as they pass down the assembly line. This throws each part into silhouette. The camera records the part's position and transmits it to the robot arm. The arm changes its orientation accordingly and picks up each piece. Without the vision system, the robot would only be able to assemble the watches if all the parts came to it in exactly the same position. Although the factory is highly mechanized, it still depends on people to adjust and inspect the finished products. Robots and humans work side by side. The robots do the boring, repetitive work, leaving more challenging jobs, such as quality control, to people. Many of today's industrial robots come equipped with sensory systems designed to mimic human senses. They can see, hear, even feel. Other robots can sense things beyond human perception: radiation, infrared light, or sounds no human can hear. Such extra senses make robots powerful tools for industry and science. Robots are rapidly invading the world of industry. Japanese, with their highly automated auto plants and other robot assembly lines, lead the way. Japanese industries expect to employ 500,000 robots by the end of this century. The United States and other industrialized nations lag behind, but are catching up fast. There were only a few thousand robots working in U.S. factories in the early 1980s. By the mid-1990s, experts predict there will be more than 100,000. Most of the jobs now performed by robots were formerly done by people. Since the average robot can potentially do the work of 2 people, many fear that these intelligent machines will eventually force thousands of people out of their jobs. Industry analysts acknowledge that robots will eliminate or greatly change some types of human work. The key to coping with this potential economic and social problem is education. Robots will never eliminate the need for people. Like all machines, they require people to design them, build them, sell them, and maintain them. But many of those who might lose their jobs don't have the skills or education needed for these new positions. If people are to be ready for the jobs the robotics revolution will create, they must begin learning about this new technology when they are very young.
You ready? Here we go.
Teachers like Maggie Moore of Oregon are helping their students get a head start on the robotic revolution.
He just damaged his foot. That's all it did.
Remember when I kept saying, do you want to go left? You said, no, we want to go right.
No.
All right, now you need to think about this one more time, poor guy.
No.
Why didn't he do it right the first
He
time?
didn't listen. He's not a robot. Because he did it wrong.
Topo did it wrong?
No, he didn't. We did it wrong. We programmed him wrong.
Because you programmed him wrong. So you might have to fix this. Okay, we'll give him one command at a time. Let's see what it is. Okay, you want to go forward? 100. You liked that one, didn't you? Okay. There he is. Now what?
Right 15.
All right.
Yeah. Forward 20.
These youngsters will grow up in a world where robots are commonplace. You will meet them in school, at home, and in the workplace. How they use and relate to these revolutionary machines will be limited only by their own human ingenuity.